is needed. We want to bring in John Brady, R.J. O'Brien, Managing Director. He joins us from the CME. John, what's the Fed's magic number? Are you expecting the Fed to raise rates in a week and a half?
They should raise rates in a week and a half, Maria, and the challenge with this number is that it could further erode or at least test the Fed's credibility. You know, I think the Fed's wanted to move away from the zero bound perhaps for the last 6 months, but they always find a reason not to. So to answer your question today, market looks for about 215,000, the non-farm payroll number, a 5.2% unemployment rate. Now, the August number just happens to be the most heavily revised non-farm payroll number in the calendar year. It tends to come in about 40,000 soft, and over the next 2 months, it gets revised up about 60,000. So a problem for the Fed today is if this number, the non-farm number, prints maybe close to 150,000, because then traders and policymakers have to say, okay, well, will it be 200,000, let's say, by October? Right. And the revisions will play a role here. If the unemployment rate upticks, then the Fed's also got a challenge, because then they may take September and say, well, maybe we'll make it October. The Fed's credibility is the most important trade today.
That is exactly what Jack Otter told us at the beginning of the program, that we've got a history of August underperforming, and that's the question. Let me bring in the master here, and that's Charles Payne. Charles, what are you looking at with this jobs number? How important is this?
It's obviously very important, but, you know, the idea that the Fed's credibility is on the line right now, I don't know that they have a lot of credibility. I'm just going to be quite frank with you. Even the notion of central banks, and I know you have Keith McCullough who's always kind of dissing them, but in this particular case, I do agree in the sense that look what happened yesterday over in Europe in the ECB and Mario Draghi. These guys just can't get it done. And as much as we've complained, criticized, pointed fingers at China, trying to manipulate their markets, you know what? When you create $4 trillion of money out of ether, that's sort of manipulation too. And by the way, it isn't working. The mechanisms that we use, you know how the judge ruled against the NFL yesterday about the procedure of it all? The procedure of how we're doing this, how we run our central banks, and the inability of this money to get to Main Street, in my mind, is an atrocity. So this number, by the way, the idea that 200,000 is a good number and anything below that is mediocrity is also ridiculous. We should be 400,000. Our economy is capable of that.
Totally agree. We should be much farther along.
I'm glad that the central bank pajama party is about to end, and Janet Yellen's actually going to put her clothes on and go to work and get out of bed with all these other central bankers, because we will stand alone if we start tightening, maybe us and the United Kingdom, and that's it.
But you are expecting a tightening. You bet me $20 that the Fed's going to raise.
I would never bet you $20. I'd bet John.
I bet you too. I'm on that bite. Okay. I'm on that bet.
I lost the Brady bet, by the way. Senator
and I think, you know, the big thing that the Fed has been talking about for, you know, really this whole past year is that it's not just about this headline number. It's really about wages, and it's going to be about labor participation. And I think that's why they truly haven't raised rates, is the concern has been around the size of the workforce is shrinking. People aren't participating in the workforce. And we need to see those numbers really start moving in the right direction.
And when we're thinking about a rate increase, we have to think about what happened in Europe. They hiked and said, oops, we messed up, and then they eased again. And the Fed does not want to. I mean, you think Janet Yellen's a little concerned now. Imagine if she gets up, gets out of bed, and then has to get back in bed. That would not be a good one. So they really want to make sure that once they start this glide path, as low a slope as it's going to be, they want to stay on that path.
So to have